Hello everyone! Welcome to episode 2 in the Intermediate Python series. In this episode, we will be learning about the concept of classes, which is a very important concept in Python. Let's get started! First of all, let's take a look at classes. A class is like a blueprint. A blueprint is a format or plan for a building or structure. That's a similar concept in programming. A class defines what something can do without actually doing it. You need to create an instance of the class to make that plan work. We'll be learning about instances later. So objects are something that are used in classes. Objects are data or a collection of data that can be acted upon. Variables and values are all objects. They contain everything inside the class. Next, let's look at how to write a class. So first, you want to start off with the word class and then the name of your class. In this example, the class's name is person. So we're creating kind of like a blueprint for the class of a person. Next, we have to initialize the class. So we're using a def init function. So to initialize the class using this function, first you start off with the word def, just like you do in classes. Then you need 2 underscores, the word init, which is a short form for initialize, 2 more underscores, and make sure you have all of these underscores and the correct words, or else you'll get an error. After the 2 underscores after the word init, you need a set of regular parentheses. So in every single initializing function, you need the word self in every class. After the word self, you need your attributes. So in this class, our 2 attributes are name and age. You can have as many attributes as you want. You can also not even have an attribute. But if you're not having an attribute, you still need the word self. Then you need a colon like you do in other classes, in other functions. And then, here's where we're defining the attributes. So what we do is self, dot, and then the attribute name, which in this case is simply name, and then is equal to name. So self.name is equal to name. So we have to do this same method for all of the attributes. So on the next line, we do self.age for the age attribute is equal to age. Now we're done initializing the class. Now we have to come out of the function and then also come out of the class. Now we have to create an instance of the class. We're going to be putting this instance in a variable called teacher in this example. So we're creating a teacher instance out of the class of person. So teacher is equal to person. You need the class name, which in this case is person, and then a set of regular parentheses. And inside of this parentheses, you need values to fill in these attributes. Just like you do in functions for parameters, you need arguments for parameters. So for the name, we put teacher, and for the age, we put 30. Now, when we want to print out the attributes of this instance, what we do is put the attributes in a print statement. So we do print, and instead of having self.name like we have inside the initializing function, we need the variable name. So teacher, which is the name of the variable, dot name, and then it's also printing teacher.age. So when we run this code, it's going to print out teacher and 30. Now let's create a basic class in a REPL.it project. So first, let's start off with the class name. I'm going to be creating a class about dogs, so class dogs. Then you need your colon. After you type in the colon, press enter. Now we have to initialize the class. So def 2 underscores init 2 underscores again, and then a set of regular parentheses. Next, we need the word self. And after the word self and the comma, we need our attributes. So I'm just going to create 2 attributes, but you can create how much ever attributes you want. Just make sure that you define all of them. So the attributes that I'm going to be using is name and breed. Then come out of the regular set of parentheses, put a colon, and press enter once again. Now let's define our attributes. So now we're done initializing our class. Now let's come out of the function and come out of the class. Now I'm going to be creating an instance of the dog class. So now I created an instance and I named the variable as dog1, and then I put the class name, which is dogs, and for name I put Tokyo, and for the breed I put Shih Tzu. So now let's print out the attributes. So now I'm printing out dog1's name and dog1's breed, and when we run this code, it prints out Tokyo and Shih Tzu. Now let's get back to the PowerPoint. Next, we'll be learning about methods in classes. So methods are functions connected to a class. They can do certain things that relate to the class. An example of a method is adding an item to a list. Now let's take a look at an example in Python code. So here we created a class called message, and here we're initializing the class. So I created one attribute called message, and here I'm defining the attribute. So self.message is equal to message. This function here is the method. So as you can see here, it looks very similar to a regular function, and it is. So first I've said def and show is the name of the function. Then you can see that I put self as the parameter in this function. In every single class methods, you need self as a parameter in the methods, or else the code won't work. So I did def show, and then self as the parameter, and then a colon, and then I said print your message is self.message. So whatever value is entered for the attribute message, it's going to print that along with your message is colon. So here we created an instance called message. So message is equal to message, which is the name of the class, and then a set of regular parentheses, and the message that was entered here was hello. Now we're going to look at how to present these class methods. So what we do is we just need the instance name, which in this case is message, and then we need dot, and then the name of the function, which in this case is show. So message.show, and then we need this parentheses. So when we run this code in the console, it's going to print out your message is hello. Just so that you see how the code that we saw in the PowerPoint works on the console, I'm going to type in the class in the circle.it project and then run that code. So now we have the message class and an instance of that message class here in the REPL.it project. So now let's run this code. So when we run this code, it does exactly like it told you what it would do. It printed out your message is hello. You can create how much ever instances you want. Like you can do message 2 is equal to message good morning, and you can do much more. But remember that if you want this message to work, to run with this method, you also have to do message2.show. So you have to do the .show or whatever method that you're using for every single instance. So now when we run this code, it printed out your message is good morning in the console. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button and leave a comment regarding this episode so that I'll know how to make future episodes. Also, make sure to subscribe to this channel so that you'll know when future courses are released. See you in the next video!